So today I am going to show you the new Benchdogs, the Ultra. I think this is the Mark III track saw rail square, and it is the one right here. It's the brand new one. I was holding off because I wanted to get the things that go off the side, the one, but they wouldn't ship it to my country. They wouldn't ship it to the United States. So, and then they had a sale on this, so I finally just ordered it and like whatever. You know, I wanted to combine the shipping and get whatever, but so I got the rail square itself. This is a Bosch track, as you can see. It has all these holes in it, and you can configure it, and you can switch it over to fit. It fits DeWalt, it fits Bosch, a Makita, Triton, Ebauer XL. It fits Festool Milwaukee, Craig ACS, and it fits mine, which is Bosch Mafell, and I can't see the writing under here, but I think it also fits Flex. I've never looked at the Flex track, so I don't know what that's like, but and you know, might also fit some others, like I don't know, like the new one from Metabo HPT is kind of similar to the Mafell Bosch rail. So I got it with these, and these are the pins. These are the new ones, and you can see that they're thinner than regular MFT dogs, right? And that's because they come with these, which are in my old MFT 1080 in my dry Southern California climate. These are really hard to get in. They're chamfer dogs, and I put them in, and they take some force to get in there. I think it was because partially the rings, the rubber rings on them weren't that well seated. So I took a kind of tool and rolled around the outside, and then they went in a little bit easier, but they're still very snug. So that's a very good thing. So it's very precise, the fit of these pins that go in the holes. So these, as you can see, this thing is drilled on centers, and you can do 45s with it too by moving this pin to like here. You can do a 45-degree angle, different ways. It's marked for that. But anyway, these, and you can set these. Well, you can look up on Benchdogs at UK how it works. And you just put these in the. See if you can see. And they slide right in there really nice, as long as it's real solid. And I've been a believer in this rail square approach for years, because I stopped using an MFT for cross cutting a long time ago. After I sold my first one, I just wasn't using it anymore. And then I moved cross country, and then I picked this one up used, and I've never used it for cross cutting. But I did use a track square. I did use with my Festool saw that I got then. I had this is a first generation TSO square. TSO GRS 16, and they actually put the holes in this one, so you can put their fences that came out, but at the time when this was like the only product they made, I think. So it's real early on, and this was their sort of thing that was their thing at the beginning. I think it was patented and stuff, so other people wanted to make them, had to make up their own, but now others are kind of ripping these off, I don't know. But it's still a very accurate square. This is a Makita style track, which, as you know, is almost exactly like a Festool style track. I'm not particular about brands. If you want to buy the brand name ones, you can, but I've got some several knockoff ones, and they're fine. The only thing that matters is if they're accurate. You know, mail order them, send them back if they're not accurate. That's my philosophy. You know, you need a good straight edge. You know, so you can check them, but if they're accurate, you know. And if you want to link them up end to end, that's a thing, because they do vary from lot to lot and from seller to seller. So even with Makita, if you order Makita, they're not all the same. Like Festool's way more consistent that way. But I'm not a big fan of linking the Festool rails end to end anyway. I tried that with the old ones, the first generation ones. I didn't like it. Haven't done it since. So, but one of the reasons I got into the Bosch is because I think the alignment system for putting them together is superior. I really do. So I wanted to try the Bosch, and I'm really liking it. I have, just very limited experience with it, but I like it. So here's this one. You know this one. Love this one. I love this setup. It's great. But I wanted to get into the Bosch, and Benchdogs UK is the one that does the one for the Bosch, and it seems like they've got that figured out. They've got, the products are expensive, but I don't know, they're about the same price as TSO, I guess, and you got to pay to ship them from the UK, and that's kind of a downside. But it seems like they got some clever solutions worked out. And with the rail square, you get these instructions on how to set it up for all the different types of track. You get your little brochure thing with pockets in it. And then you get these readouts that prove to you that it is square. And these, this is good. They probably have like some sort of custom machine shop setup that does it real quick and spits out this computer printout, so it's good for them. And it probably prevents people from like calling them and saying, hey, my thing's not square, when all they're doing is setting it up wrong, or something. So so they can talk you through whether it's a user error or whether it's a problem with their product or not. Now, one thing I was thinking about is, like, I know that these will lock pretty square, and if you butt it up against the front of a board, cut it off square. But what about when you're on the MFT? Because normally what we have, the old Festool system, right? You've got the hinge, and you can get these for Bosch, but they're expensive. You can buy one from Benchdogs UK, but the whole setup like over $300, $350. It's like really expensive, and it's nice. And then somebody in the US makes one too, and it's also really expensive. And then you can get plastic ones that are like $100 to buy them, or you can print them yourself, buy the files or something and print them yourself. But still, I didn't want to go with plastic ones. I don't like the hinges anyway from previous bad experiences with the janky Festool system that is like nobody likes, in my opinion. Maybe some people like it, but I don't like it. I never liked it. I had it and I thought it sucked. Or for cabinet making anyway, it sucked. For if you're doing carpentry with it, that's fine, because that is the Festool track saw. That's its origin and its DNA. It's a carpentry tool. It's an on-site installation tool. It's not made for. It was never designed in the first place for that. For the precision cabinet making that people in the USA immediately when they started importing them over here around the year 2000, the cabinet maker was like, "Oh man, this thing's amazing! You can straight line lumber and all this stuff with it." And they were like, "This really saves us. This is really good for us." But they started doing things with these Festool saws and the track that they were never imagined for originally. So that's why Festool keeps improving them. They came out with the Generation 2 track with the two things and all that. It links up better and all that with the accessories. One thing I will say about the Festool is on first glance, when you look at the Festool track, it's got this thing on it, right? You're like, oh, that's superior because you can put your parallel guides on it and stuff like that. You can't do that with the Bosch. It doesn't have that, right? So you're like, oh man, I don't like that. So I was thinking about it. But the thing about the Festool is you always, when you got the parallel guides attached, if you're going to use those, they're sticking way out to the side, right? You can taking them off is too much of a hassle, right? So you're always moving this big thing around, right? With the Bosch, you just put them on there and you take them off when you want to change positions. I have a couple that are in progress that I'm making from 3D printed stuff. They're down here somewhere, I think. They're not complete. Oh, here's the part. This is just this is a 3D printed. I got this for free. And this is the thing, and think about it. You don't really need, measurements on it. All you need to do is you mark your board, right? Set up one track and then set up the other one so it's the same. And then you just drop this right on there. And then when you're ready to move your track, you just take it right off, move your track, put it back on like that. It's, I think it through, and you might find that's a more attractive solution to you than the Festool way of doing it with the thing sticking out the side. Some of those tracks, the repeaters or the parallel guides are going to be sticking out really far, right? I don't like that idea. I really don't. So, think it through. I think if you take a look at the Bosch and Mafell track, you might be like, oh wow, this is actually really pretty cool. But the Festool saws and that style of track, it's got its upsides too. The Festool saws have their anti-chip out thing, and the different things they got the big saw, the TS75. That's why I have a TS75, and that's why I'm going to hang on to the Festool for a while at least. It's a bigger saw. So anyway. What I've worked out here is I've got one of these 1, 2, 3 blocks, right? And I have this dial indicator right here that happens to have the back is like 3/4 or something. So it fits almost exactly in one of these holes. It fits really good. So it just happened to work out that way. I've had it clamped down so it can be on 0. So it's zeroed in. And my thinking was, well, you're putting force going back and forth on this that is not going to knock it out of square, but any English or force side to side will knock it just slightly out of square. Now, is it too much to throw off your cabinet making cuts? Probably not, but I was just curious, so I set up this little thing set up to see how much it would deflect. And so I'm going to put some pressure on it. I don't have a thing to tell you how much, but I'm going to put Okay, come on, go 0. I'm gonna try to get it at 0, right? I'm gonna push it a little this way and push it out to 10. That's 10 1,000ths of an inch. I'm gonna let it go, and it didn't go back. Let's see. Let's do it again. And I have to tap, 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 tap to get it back. There's a spring in this dial indicator, so I know that the dial indicator is probably not the problem, right? So this thing is, something here is moving. I don't know what it is, but something here is, you can push it over 10 1,000ths of an inch. That's 1/100th of an inch. You can push it off square over, well, what is this? About 30 inches all the way across. 10, I don't know. It's pretty accurate, you know, you figure it out. I'm gonna push it up, push it over this way. Let's see, come on, there we go. Push it out to 90, that's about 10, and it springs back to about, 5 1,000ths that way. So you can push it this way, and then it springs back more. So between these two different directions, I don't know, you got like, I don't know, I mean, you got maximum, if I really push it, I can get it 20 thousandths over that way, and I get it easily more over that way. So I can really push it and get it, you know, move it maybe 50 thousandths of an inch. But, you know, as far as a practical matter, it just putting some pressure on your saw or whatever, I think it's very little. It probably just doesn't deflect it much at all. So it's probably accurate enough, but you know, I was just curious about that. And you know, if you know that the MFT pattern was done with a CNC machine, and you know, when the holes are accurately sized and they're working with your humidity or whatever, and you have dogs that fit really snug, that's really accurate. So this is probably more accurate than you're ever going to need for cabinet making. You can probably do like really accurate, like 32 millimeter frameless cabinets on this if you want to mess around with that. You know, like IKEA style cabinets that have to be, I mean, you may laugh at IKEA style cabinets, but they're really, really exact. They have to be. That's the secret of European cabinet making that way. They have to be perfect. They have to be square. And that way, when they're perfect and square, you don't need face frames on them, and you can just stack them up as high as you want and whatever. They're just boxes, and they're all the same. They're all identical blocks, you know, and you stack them up any way you want, and they don't start looking weird when you add layers to them and so on, because they're all so precise. That's the ideal. That's the ideal with the European cabinet maker. And you know, high-end clients here in the United States, they'll pay for that. You know, you see these you'll see these pictures of, like, you know, in like fancy houses and corporate and so on, where they got you know, they have frameless cabinets going 12 feet up to the ceiling or whatever, and they're like really custom, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's that precision that comes from that 32 millimeter cabinet making system that makes that possible. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I think this is a really excellent product and something you should look at, even if you're on the Festool system. If you're considering getting into the Bosch track at all, I think this is really worth checking out. And I really like how these, they don't go into how they go into their own little dogs with holes in them, right? And they have Benchdogs UK also has the rail dogs that also go into the little dog holes, which I like that idea better than the ones where the actual rail dogs are, you know, 20 millimeters or whatever, that go into your holes. Because the problem with those, as from what I've seen and read about, I haven't tried them yet, and probably never will, is that it's really hard to get them in and out, because they have to be lined up just right. And if you don't want to mess with that, you might want to consider the Benchdogs UK system. All right, thanks for watching.